Well, I guess it's not really that big of a deal. I could probably just change it in there. Alright, well, we're just gonna have ourselves a nice chill time. Gonna relax, gonna write. Chill time. Gonna relax, gonna write. I don't really know about how much we're gonna put on paper in terms of the actual story. But yeah. I'm still waiting on good old Solo to get back to me with what I gave him. You know, it's only been like a day. I'd be surprised if he gets back to me before the weekend is up. So if he shows up and he has some stuff between then and now, maybe we'll actually be able to put some real stuff down on paper. But yeah. Let me get the link. Let me let the good folks know. There was like 27 people who voted in last night's poll, with 70% of the people wanting the story of Zucchi over a Pokemon Nuzlocke. So people better show up. Let's chill, chat, and write. Sounds good enough to me. Twatter. Alright. Word has been let out. I think we'll do... I think I'm going to do it like this. And then maybe I should be able to close that down, yeah? Yeah, that should be pretty good. Alright, so, yeah. We're, I have not done anything since last week. So we're basically picking up more or less where we left off. I'm still kind of stumped about how I want to handle this whole training arc, because we got it started, right? It's begun. Solo, hello! Welcome in, man. Just the guy I wanted to see as well, dude. Have you been able to do any work since I've given you the draft from last night? Because if not, then I don't really know about how much we're going to actually be able to, like, write as far as the official draft goes. Also, the audio mixing should be pretty good. You've done a bit on the Gallic grenade training scenes. Okay. Yeah, because I'm pretty sure that I gave you my notes, so basically all of this stuff right here. Since the majority of the time goes to Gallic grenade, that's kind of where I'm mostly stumped. You don't gotta make like a regimen or scenes for every single day, because I would imagine a lot of things are like kind of stagnant progress or barely any progress. So, you know, you don't gotta be typing up 14 days worth of content there. So, Tyrese, hello, welcome in. You're grinding TP medals and glory points? Good shit, man. I'm bored of that shit. I gotta tell you, I'm bored of grinding TP medals and glory points, man. I'm relatively bored of Xenoverse 2 in general. It's like, unless like a new DLC comes out, or like the festival is still kind of a fresh thing that is only a couple of weeks old, you know, it's hard to stay interested. I feel like after the third week especially, it's hard for me to maintain interest, because week 3 was such a quick and easy grind, and then it's followed by 2 weeks of an absolute slog. And the fact that you can't earn anything under the other rewards section more than once, it's like, what's the point? You know, it kind of sucks, because then those clothes are restricted to just one CAC at a time. And it's like, come on, man. There hasn't really been much in Xenoverse 2 since May when DLC 17 dropped. Yeah. I do, like I said, I do like the Festival of Universes. It's generally it's entertaining enough for the first 3 weeks, but after that, I feel like its entertainment value really drops off. But yeah, Solo, like I said yesterday, no big rush, but definitely gonna need to be getting some stuff from you probably at least by the middle of next week, so like Wednesday, Thursday time. I don't know about how much I'm gonna add to the actual this actual real draft of it. I think I'm mostly gonna be sticking to sticky notes and kind of writing down some ideas for the Tivne arc and some characters that we're gonna see and some events that are gonna happen. Because once I get past Zucchi getting off of planet Vegeta, that's really where my ideas become like more scattered, less detailed, and stuff like that. It's very much just like, okay, here's some stuff that happens, here's some stuff that happens, here's some stuff that happens, and it's just not quite as well thought out as what the Planet Vegeta training arc is. Not to say that the ideas aren't there, but they are fleshed out to zero, like, meat and potatoes, you know? So, I think some important things to kind of get down is what kind of characters are we going to be encountering here? Well, actually, what the planet is like. Dense, heavy foliage. Right, this is a very green planet, right? Dense, heavy foliage. People are pretty strong, well versed in healing techniques. I'm gonna do big, strong monsters capable of key control, right? Because I want to spend some time with Zucchi still being a kid here, But there's going to be quite the time skip on Planet Tivne, and Zucchi is going to be an adult. And by that point, Turles is going to show up with the Crusher Core, is kind of where we're getting at. Donka, Akali, hello, welcome in. Welcome in, folks. So yeah, Tivne has dense, heavy foliage. There's big, strong monsters capable of ki control. The people are pretty strong, well-versed in healing techniques. We're gonna say somewhat comparable to Saiyans. Well-versed in healing techniques. Would Turles recognize Zucchi as a high-ranking warrior? I'm gonna say that Zucchi wouldn't necessarily be a public figure on account that she's just a little girl. You know, maybe once they start fighting, right? Because the idea with Turles is going to be very similar to the movie. He has seeds from the fruit of the Tree of Might, and he's going to plant them on Tivne. So, the fruits are going to play a big factor in kind of how these fights scale. From previous story streams, we said no Broly. Yeah, there's no plans on including Broly. The main thing is, you know, I do want to include movie characters, but the thing is Z Broly, not only is he non-canon, but anything that his character could have been would be completely retconned by Dragon Ball Super if he was canon, right? So if Broly ever were to make an appearance, it would be the Dragon Ball Super version for sure, but I don't have any idea how I would incorporate him into this. Because I don't want to be taking characters from the canon and inserting them in here and giving them stuff to do that would kind of contradict what happens with the main timeline too much. Hence why I'm trying to use movie characters that are considered to be non-canon and stuff like that. So yeah, big, strong monsters capable of ki control. This is where I kind of want to use Great Ape as a useful transformation. Considering that there are giants on this planet. You know, not giants in like the humanoid sense, but maybe we could do something like giant snakes. What kind of creatures do you guys think would make for an interesting fight against a giant gorilla? I definitely think that a snake might be interesting. I feel like that's kind of a common thing to make giant. Maybe an intelligence beast? I mean, hopefully you guys can see the notes that I'm writing off to the side here really well. But yeah, there's people on the planet. Like an alien lycanthrope. Maybe introducing slug. We're introducing Turles and Tivne. So there's gonna be... I definitely want there to be a Great Ape versus Great Ape fight here. Introduce Shimo? Who the fuck is Shimo? I'm really digging this song. Da, da, da. Is this supposed to be Slateport? I think this is Slateport. Sheep... Godzilla? There is no X in the word Godzilla, Cesaro. Come on. Oh, this is interesting. It's like a... It's like a four-legged Godzilla. Hmm. Yo, what's up, Brian? Welcome in, man. The writing's going okay. I've got Solo doing a little bit of work for me. I'm workshopping what the next arc is going to be, because I kind of have a good idea for where I'm going to go once Solo gets me what I'm going to need. So I'm working ahead a little bit while Solo is kind of working on current events. So yeah, maybe like serpents, dinosaurs. I mean, like I said, Turles is going to make an appearance, and I do want a Great Ape versus Great Ape fight, so that's... What else might be fun? I feel like something... maybe a little less reptilian? I'm trying to think of what would maybe make a good giant... I'm not going to make like a whole shit ton of these fights. There might be one or two that I cover. So I'm just kind of trying to think of stuff that I could potentially use. We'll leave that here for now. People are pretty strong, somewhat comparable to Saiyans, well versed in healing techniques. The people don't really have big cities, I'd say. The people don't really have large cities. They're not primitive. But aren't really technologically advanced either. Mostly live off the land, I kind of think. I'm kind of trying to think here because I kind of like the idea of something kind of like Princess Snake where there's some people that also have their own like giant transformations, but I don't really know where I would take that. I'm kind of trying to think, like, if these people did have technology, what kind of technology would I like for them to have? Like, maybe some form of communication. That would make sense. Phoenix, hello, welcome in. Okay. Leaders are referred to as chiefs. There's a good handful, but we're mostly gonna focus on where Zucchi is. Um... Hmm. Gordon and Nasu have been to the planet many years ago. What's the multiplier for the Great Ape form? It's a 10 times multiplier. Many years ago, informed the people of Tivnay that there is such a thing. Oh. People of Tivnay about Frieza and the Saiyans. Gordon was sent on recon, but he would return to Vegeta with lies, saying that the air was toxic. The chief is familiar with Gordon, and he is revered as a hero amongst, well, maybe not a hero, as a good man, I think would be a better way to put it, because he didn't like save them from anything, but he warned them of shit. As a good man amongst the Tivnay. Because I think for people like this, I think something needs to be set up. And there needs to be a reason why Gordon knew about this planet to send Zucchi there in the first place, right? So I think him having been there and decided to keep it as a safe haven for the people who live there is kind of how we go about it. Okay, so let me think about some characters then. Characters. Chief. What should his name be? God fucking damn it. I really hate how this works. Stop working in a lame way. Chief Collard, Lagelmo. You guys are gonna have to tell me where these names are coming from, because my naming scheme is going to be like some kind of play off of Native American tribe names is how I'm gonna go about naming these characters. His name is one of your viewers. I mean, maybe we could do that. Maybe I can hold some kind of contest and, you know, whoever wins the contest, you know, that viewer can have their name be one of the characters in the story, but I don't think that that's going to happen here. You know, I do not dislike that idea by any means. I'm actually very fond of that, so maybe that's something we'll do. I'll try and think of an original character, and then I'll hold some sort of a contest. I don't know what the contest would be, but we could do something, and the winner gets to have that character named after them. Dude, some of these names are actually pretty fucking fire. I'm going through a list of Native American tribes, and some of these are honestly pretty fire names. Is this list like... Oh, yeah, it is. Okay. Here we go. God damn, this is an extensive list. But yeah, for real, these are honestly really good names here. A PvP tournament in Xenoverse? Maybe, you know, because I was thinking about doing a PvP tournament for the 5,000 viewer special, And whoever the winner of that tournament was got to suggest a video for me to create. But we could do something similar for once we get to that point in the story, or once we're actually nearing a point in the story where I need to create an original character. Yeah, what I'm thinking, honestly, I like the name Chero. Obviously, after the Cherokee people. I like the name Chero for a chief. Chief Chero? I like the alliteration on that. And then Chero's daughter, which would be Zucchi's best friend. And I guess maybe you could say adoptive sister in a sense would be... I already know her name is going to be Shawnee. Which is actually a Native American tribe that I have some people... There's some people in my family tree from the Shawnee tribe. Fun fact. God, this whole fucking thing, which this is pissing me off. Man, these are really good names, and I'm trying to think of how many characters we would actually be... There's going to be a lot of, maybe, like, background characters, but I kind of want to have, like, maybe a group that starts out as bullies to Zucchi, considering that she's an alien. You know, maybe like a small group of young Tivne that don't accept her at first, and so they bully her and give her a hard time, but then eventually become her friends after having received punishment. So let me think. Maybe like a group of 3 bullies. 3 bullies. And I like the names Eero, Wapo, I really wish that this would just stay up. Can I do something maybe like maybe I'll just pull this fucking list over here for now. Okay, I already know what kind of naming scheme I want to give these people, and unless there's anybody in here who just so happens to be named after a American Indian group, then no. I'm thinking, like, the chief's gotta have a wife, right? I feel like that would be a somewhat important character. Chief's wife. And I like the idea of her being named Nava. I mean, some of these names are honestly just really good in general. Like, I'm pretty sure that this is pronounced Shoshone. Then there's Hidatsa, Yakima, honestly, Iro, Nez. Who? Hello, welcome in. Let's see, one more. I did kind of like the idea of Wapo. And he could maybe be like the nitwit. Okay, honestly, I do like the name Wapo. Iro, Nez, and Wapo. I think those are pretty good. I think we gotta have... I feel like this would be kind of like the main people that Zucchi is gonna be, like, interacting with. I kind of want to throw in maybe a couple more characters, maybe a couple more that are like more female characters. And they could be kind of more... Because kind of the idea of these people is most of them are well-versed in healing in some way, shape, or form, but there's some people who are like... They specialize in healing, right? I don't know, Akali. Maybe I could figure out a way to squeeze in something like Toribot once we get off at Tivne, but I don't know what the hell I'd have him do. Like, maybe he's a bartender. Maybe we'll have a bartender that is essentially Toribot. Okay, and then we'll have, like, 3 healing specialist students. I feel like we should have at least 3 that main in that. Because what I think is going to happen here is Chief Chero takes a big role in training up the youth who show the most promise for combat, whereas Nava takes a heavy role in training the youth that show promise in healing. with both of them still being capable of the other, right? I feel like the chief and his wife should be some of the top fighters and healers of the village they're in command of. Alright, so what on here... Honestly, there's a lot that I like for female names as well. Like, honestly, Hoopa isn't too bad, and Biloxi isn't too bad. Or Biloxi, I guess. If I knew how to pronounce this, I think this would be pretty good. Kaulia? Kaulia? Miwok. Okay, honestly, I kind of like the idea of the name Miwa instead of Miwok. I like Miwa a lot, honestly. No, pay attention, Hoopa. Right, meow. Arikara. Maybe like Arika? Or Ikara? Yakima. See, honestly, man, these there's so much good stuff here that I could use. It's literally just my indecisive brain being indecisive, you know. All right, I think we're gonna use. I really want to do something with this. I think I'm going to have to do a play off of it because I don't know exactly how to... Like, maybe, No. And then I think we'll do Arika, Miwa, Arika, and then let's try and get one more name down here. Omaha. Yakima. And then Oma. I like that. Miwa, Akira, and Oma. Okay, and that's kind of a lot of characters that we can use. And then basically anybody else would be like kind of in the background. But I think having the chief's wife, the chief's daughter, 3 little shit boys, and maybe 3 girls that are kind of mean too. Because I think that there's going to be a brief time where the general populace is distrustful of what's of Zucchi, but they warm up to her. I think that this is, you know, especially like once they learn that she has a great ape form, I feel like that's gonna kind of feed into some of their fears, except for maybe Chero, Nava, and Shani. Okay. So yeah, we got some characters to work with here. So that's good. So, I guess now we can kind of bullet point where things are gonna go. So, Zucchi arrives, still passed out. I think that she needs to stay asleep for at least a short period of time. Maybe like a day or two. Stays unconscious for a day or two. Ship is found by Chero and Nava. I think would be a good way to go about that. After that, Chero finds notes left by Gordon in Zucchi's ship, and he realizes who she is. Maybe we have Nava spend a little bit of time, like, trying to heal her, I guess. Nava spends some time sort of healing Zucchi, is able to pick up that she might be going through some mental trauma while she's still asleep. I thought this song that was playing was glitched for a second. I was like, hello? Zucchi awakes in a panic, asking where she is and what happened to her father and her home. And then Zucchi eventually calms down and Chero and Nava adopt her. Lucky Zucchi, huh? You know, she's a part of the upper class no matter where she goes. Adopt her. Recognizing her potential. Most of the tribe is unsure of Zucchi for a while. But Chero, Nava, and Shani all have her back. Zucchi is tested to gauge her potential for battle and healing. Chero is surprised by just how strong she is. Zucchi would be found to be able to heal, but wouldn't really have any special talent for it, I think. I think that's kind of what I want to have her do. I want her to have the ability to heal, but I don't want her to just be able to be like, oh, you know, I got this big old gash, or, you know, I broke every bone in my body. Let me just heal myself up real quick, right? Like, she'd be able to heal very slowly and over time. So she's pretty competent at healing, like, basic cuts and bruises and shit like that. But if she wanted to heal any kind of major injury, she'd have to sit on it for a little while and focus, you know? So, you know, she would be found to be able to do it, but she isn't particularly, you know, it's not really her forte. She's more of a warrior than she is a healer. Bullies. Hiro, Nez, and Wapo eventually pick on Zucchi for being an alien and eventually decide to gang up on her. Zucchi gets a pretty good thrashing from the boys. But when she recovers from her injuries, she gets a Zenkai that lets her come back and kick all their asses. I think I like that. I'm thinking, but man. Very nicely input on the last set. Yeah, man. Honestly. It's very much a Zenkai that works under the active threat theory. I'm thinking before this, though, before the whole situation with the bullies, I think that we have to have a full moon occurs, right? Full moon occurs. Kind of like Dende during the Namek saga? Like, if you're referring to the healers of Tivne, then, like, yeah, they have healing capabilities. Kind of similar to what Dende can do. But Zucchi is Zucchi can't do what Dende can. Like, she can heal, but she's not good at it. You know, like, Dende is able to heal a hole that got completely blown. You know, there's an entry and exit wound on Vegeta. You know, Zucchi couldn't just do that in the matter of a minute. If she wanted to do something like that, you know, she'd probably die and bleed out before she was actually able to heal herself. But there would be people on the planet that are capable of being at Dende's level or higher. Full moon occurs, causing yeah, Dende's more of a magic man than he is a fighting man, right? You know, on Tivne, there's people who excel in fighting, there's people who excel in healing, and then there's kind of people who are kind of a mix of both, right? Like, for example, my idea for Chero is he is one of the strongest on the planet, in terms of like strength and fighting capabilities, but he can still heal. Like if he needs to heal himself on the battlefield, he can totally do it. He doesn't need a healer to heal himself up. But he's mainly a fighter who he's kind of like a paladin. Think of him as kind of like a paladin, I guess. And the same thing kind of with Nava, except maybe she's not so much on the fighting side as much as she is like a healer. Like whereas Chero might be kind of like a 75-25% split in favor of fighting, Nava would be the opposite. Kind of a 75-20% split in favor of healing. And then with their daughter, Shani, being perfectly capable in both. She's like she's very well split down the middle, very well rounded for a Tivne individual. Causing Zucchi to transform into a great ape. She's not out of control, but she's not in control either. The form causes great mental stress. She runs away from the village to an isolated area where she curls up in tears until she falls asleep / the transformation wears off. Not every Saiyan has to be a full 100% fighter all day, every day, so you do like the idea. Yeah. I mean, in canon, we don't get too much of that. Like, we see Gine as kind of more of a stay-at-home mom type. But, I mean, Gordon is a pretty good example of that. He's retired. He's not exactly a fighter. He's a botanist. He's a Saiyan botanist. But yeah, and then of course the Tivne people themselves, they're not violent. They don't have this crazy urge to fight like what pure-blooded Saiyans tend to have, and they're not exactly intergalactic either, and they're also not indentured by Frieza. In fact, as far as Frieza is concerned, for anybody who hasn't been here the whole time, Tivne was a planet that Gordon and his son Nasu were sent to at one point, but Gordon essentially didn't want this planet to be ruled by Frieza, and he didn't want there to be a war against the Tivne people. So he would come back to planet Vegeta and basically lie, saying that the air was toxic and the planet was uninhabitable. Which is why such a nutrient-rich planet such as Tivne has been able to slide under the radar for so long. Remember when people had theories that Fasha was Goku's real mom? Yeah, there was never really any good reason for people to believe that other than she was a female that was seen in proximity with Bardock. I never found that to be a well-grounded theory. That is some refreshing stuff right there, man. I'll have her back. Is tested to gauge her potential for battle and healing. Cher was surprised by just how strong she is. Zucchi would be found to be able to heal, but wouldn't really have any special talent for it. Full moon occurs, causing Zucchi to transform into a great ape. Yeah, exactly who. It was... You know, there was not enough detail in that movie special. Raptor, hello, welcome in. How's it going? It's going alright. I can't really say that we're making any real progress in terms of, like, the actual story here. But I am getting some bullet points down. I have figured out some ideas for a handful of characters once Zucchi gets sent to planet Tivne. So... You know, in the realm of ideas, things are going pretty good. But, you know, the ideas have yet to be implemented into a full-fledged story so far. You're working on your lunch break? Oh, shit, dude. Are you doing the whole spooky, the haunted house, whatever thing for work right now? Oh, hell yeah, Raptor. Sounds like a fun time. Sounds like a fun time indeed. Do you get any kind of extra pay for doing the Fright Fest thing? Oh, well, hell yeah, Raptor. So, I mean, shit. Sounds like it's a lot more fun than working the front gate. You get more pay than working the front gate, man. Sounds like an all-around good deal, dude. She's not out of control, but she's not in control either. The form causes great mental stress. She runs away from the village to an isolated area where she curls up in tears until she falls asleep / the transformation wears off. The transformation causes even more of many mixed feelings to be directed toward Zucchi. Some believing that she can gain full control of the form, and it could be used to fight giant creatures that can be used to fight against creatures, giant creatures that cause problems for the people. Others believe that she could lose control of the form and be worse than any of the giants. Native to the planet ever were. Fright Fest, it's not October yet. Well, just about any kind of business, you know, any kind of setup that's trying to make money off of the general populace, right? They usually get their special themed stuff, whether it be merchandise or some kind of haunted house type of deal. A lot of those big corporate people are trying to get that shit set up much sooner than when the season truly sets in, right? I don't know what the deal is with that, but a lot of corporations and shit just, they can't help themselves but get an early start on it. And I do agree, it is pretty silly, but I mean, you know, what are you gonna do? It's just a corporate cycle. Yeah, I mean, my local Walmart already has all kinds of Halloween shit set up. You know, candy buckets, costumes, decorations, things of the like. Yeah, I couldn't for the life of you tell you why, you know, the corporate world is like that, but it is. Yo, what's up, Proto Man? Welcome in. I kind of think that we need to do a little bit of a setup for like the healing class as well. Because for a while, the only person who could really truly be considered Zucchi's friend and being close to Zucchi is Shawnee. Is this that Slateport song again? Because if it is, this might be my favorite thing that this channel cycles through. Like, this might be my favorite song in the bunch. Dum, 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 dum. Also, why everything gets massively discounted after the holiday. Yeah. See, that's the true time to be a consumer, though, because then, you know, like, Halloween's done, nobody's buying as much candy, they need to get rid of their shit, so they put it on discount. See, that's the adult Halloween, right? Kids run around in their costumes, ringing doorbells, getting candy for free. And then all the adults who have sweet tooths go in the next day after Halloween and they buy all their Halloween candy at a discount price. That's adult Halloween right there. That's adult trick-or-treating. Okay, so healing students are not very nice to Zucchi. I think one of them should be particularly mean. Another one should be particularly, like, aloof to her. And another one should be kind of timid of her, yeah? So... Give you candy? No, you give me candy. I'm the one up here providing entertainment for you guys. You can give me something in return. Halloween is a dentist's least favorite holiday of the year. I'd believe it. Okay, so... yeah. One is mean, one is aloof, one is scared. You're at my front door? Well, the porch light isn't on. The porch light's the indicator. What you'd be doing on Halloween, trying to trick-or-treat at a house that doesn't have its porch light on, I don't know. Um, village is attacked by a giant creature, and Zucchi is able to use her great ape form to successfully fight it off. Ultimately earning her some well-deserved respect. I think that there should be some form of punishment for Iro, Nez, and Wapo. After Zucchi recovers and the adults of the village having sensed that she's somehow stronger, decide that a good punishment for the boys would be to have each of them fight Zucchi one-on-one. In front of everybody. I think that's pretty good. I think that's a pretty good idea there, you know. Iro, Nez, and Wapo, you know, they bully Zucchi, whatever, and then eventually they decide to jump her. Like maybe she's out gathering some fruit or something like that, and when she's alone, the boys decide, hey, let's give her a good thrashing. And so they do. Zucchi is retrieved and brought in for some healing. She gets healed up. Zucchi tells the story of who beat her up. The adults then gather the boys, and they're like, "Oh, hey, something's different about her. Something tells me that the best way for justice to be served is if Zucchi dishes out what was dealt to her." And so she kicks each of the boys' asses individually, and it's in front of the whole village to see. So I think that works. I think that works as a solid idea that can make it into the story. Because I was thinking maybe the boys would have to fight their fathers, but I think Zucchi being able to beat down the bullies that beat her up is a much more cathartic thing for both the character and for the reader. So I think I like that. You finished Zucchi's training session with Gallic Grenade and Great Ape. Alright, great shit. How's about you going ahead, Solo? You send over what you've got. I think I'm just about done with these bullet points for early Tivne arc. I'm going to wrap this up, and then maybe we'll actually get to do some legitimate writing in the actual story here. Again, Solo, this is going to be just like last time. I don't know about how much I'm going to keep. I'm going to have to feast my eyes on what you got first, but similar situation. I might not keep any of what you wrote, or, you know, this time around there's a chance I might keep some of what you wrote. But either way, I have confidence that what you got down is going to push me in the right direction going forward for this next part. Some well-deserved respect. Yeah, so I think from here, I think it's fair to put a time skip after that, after everyone realizes that Zucchi's a good kid and a good person and, you know, their greatest asset, essentially. So we'll time skip to the Turles section. Yeah, it's not going to dive directly into, like, oh, Turles is here now. But, you know, there's a time skip, and then the Turles stuff begins. But yeah, what's everybody thinking so far about the Tivne stuff? I'd say that's not too bad for about an hour and a half's worth of brainstorming. You know, we've kind of got a setting for the planet. We've got some characters that are actually going to be used. We've got some bullet points for where the story's going to go. Any thoughts, any opinions, any comments, concerns, or criticisms? Because right now it looks like Solo is sending me stuff. I don't know if that's everything. Just sent over everything you wrote? Okay, cool. So basically, it's going to get started after here. I think I'm going to take just a real quick restroom break, and then we'll start taking a look at what Solo sent over. Give me just one sec. Okay. Phantom, hello, welcome in, man, welcome in. Chair stream, yeah, dude. Should have just left you with the chair. Maybe I should have left the chair to type up the story. Could probably make something better than I could. Did you think of a recurring fear Zucchi might have that could potentially come back to haunt her? Or are you thinking too far ahead? I don't know. I mean, maybe not necessarily like a fear, but like the ridicule / rejection she goes through early on in the Tivne arc kind of follows along those lines that you're getting at. I think, you know, she has the challenge of not being accepted because she's you know, someone from an alien planet, and she has this great ape form that once it gets revealed to the people of the planet, they really become split as to like, oh, you know, she's a menace, or no, she can be a great help. So it's not necessarily along the same lines of a fear per se, but it is a struggle that she has in her life, and it is a challenge that she has to overcome that isn't necessarily like an opponent that she has to fight, right? Like she's legit kind of dealing with discrimination. Saffron, hello, welcome in. Make an attack called the Gallic Glock. I was thinking of having like a Gallic name scheme for some of her attacks, like Gallic Bayonet or like Gallic Blade or something like that. And like other weapons like Gallic Cannon or Gallic something. I thought about that, but I don't know about Gallic Glock, because Glock falls under the same general category as gun, you know? But I don't know. I don't know what I'm gonna do with Zucchi's techniques going forward, because if we're talking about techniques that she is going to have up to everything that I've kind of shared so far, you know, she's going to have Gallic Gun. She's going to have Gallic Grenade. She's got the Powerball, which, although it's more of a support technique than it is a, like, attack technique, you know? It's tied to a transformation, in a sense. But it's a technique nonetheless, right? On top of that, the Tivne are going to teach her how to heal, and although she's not very good at it, she can do it, you know? So, I think we're doing pretty good as far as, like, techniques are going so far for the early portion of the story. Introduce her to the Pui race, or the Sugarians? That sounds like a manga term. Is that what, like, granola is a Shugarian? You're tired, you just got home from work. Busy as fuck after an hour or so before closing. There was a football game, so everyone had to rush to the store after it ended. Oh shit, dude. That's rough. Yeah, that's gotta have you beat, but glad you were able to tune in. Always good to have you. Okay, so let's see here. Let me get what Solo just sent me. And it looks like it isn't too much, which I'm happy about. I'm gonna put this on on the word pad real quick. I'm going to read through it, and then we'll go from there. Okay, yeah. I don't know about how much I'm going to dip into manga stuff, because eventually my own original characters are going to be getting introduced. There's going to be kind of a fair mix of movie characters as well as characters that are of my own, right? So, and I think especially once we get to what could be considered like super kind of time frames, I think that's really where the story is going to take off, and I'm going to take a lot more creative liberties, truth be told, is kind of how things are working in my head. But, you know, I want to read the manga. I would have to read the manga, and I'd have to see what ideas are there that I think that I could work with. I don't want to get too far ahead of myself here, because that is some source material that I need to review, and I'd have to see if there's any ideas that I like or think that I can work with. So we'll just have to see about that. Well, that's a bridge we'll cross when we get there. Okay, so here is what Solo has for me. I'm gonna go on ahead. I'm gonna read it out loud for us here, and then I'll decide what I want to do. All right, Zucchi. Concentrate your ki into the shape of a small grenade like this, Gordon explained as he demonstrated the technique to his daughter, and then threw the grenade across the dunes as it exploded on impact with the ground. Zucchi nodded as she carefully copied what her father showed her. Come on, Zucchi mumbled to herself while trying to create a Gallic grenade. She practiced for a while. There were some failed attempts. The grenade blew up in her face, but that's what Gordon wanted because of the Zenkai boosts. After a while, Zucchi successfully created a Gallic grenade. Papa, I did it, she exclaimed. Good job, sweetie, Gordon said proudly, with a smile on his face. Now aim where you want to throw it. Zucchi nodded to her father as she threw it 5 feet from where she was standing. Gordon was glad to see Zucchi making progress. Next time I want you to control your Grade 8 form. This is a form that all Saiyans obtain when they look at a full moon. The form also boosts the person's power level tenfold. Although powerful, it's not so easily controlled, he explained. Zucchi was hesitant, but also excited to train her Grade 8 form. I'm ready, Papa. Okay, so we're missing the mark a little bit here. Because the main thing is Zucchi can use the long-distanced variant. Like, no problem, right? As demonstrated in the fight with the Cybermen. The thing is as explained previously in the story, there is an up-close variation of it. I forget exactly where it is. Can I control F in WordPad? I can, so variant, I think. Variation. Yeah, but your use of the up-close variation is all wrong, right? So that's kind of what I was... What we need Zucchi to be working on here, so I'm definitely going to be going back and changing a lot of this stuff up. But otherwise, I think that this is getting the creative juices flowing here. It's really getting me to think harder about this, so that's exactly what I was hoping to get out of this. So that's honestly perfect. I've made modified versions of Vegeta's moves for one of your characters. Basically, they are much stronger versions of Vegeta's moves, but they also have the drawback of burning the user and the opponent. If she's not with the main cast of characters, will sensu beans be discovered in the story or no? I am going to have healing be dealt with in a couple of different ways. Of course, the Tivne people have a way of using ki in order to perform healing techniques. And I think I'm also going to have healing injections, right? I think I'm actually going to have, like, needles and shots that are used for healing rather than a sensu bean. But yes, there will be healing mechanics in the story, but it's not going to be specifically with senzu beans. Am I open to having Zucchi learn other moves other people created, Cesaro? So, I mean, she knows Gallic Gun and Gallic Grenade. Of course, Gallic Gun is kind of a Vegeta, King Vegeta, Gordon type of thing, and then Gallic Grenade is an original idea of my own, but it's Gordon's move. It's Gordon's technique. So far, that's what she has. Gallic Gun and Gallic Grenade are all things that she would have learned from her father. Okay. Just pull up some extra sticky notes here. To get started. Alright, Zucchi. For now, just focus on charging up one Gallic Grenade at a time and pushing them into the rock. Is Zucchi going to eventually learn Big Bang Attack and Final Flash? I mean, no. She's not going to be encountering Goku or Vegeta at all, as far as I can figure. So learning Big Bang Attack and Final Flash is not exactly in the cards. You know, she's gonna learn new techniques and develop her own as time goes on, and maybe they'll be similar to Big Bang Attack and Final Flash, but I mean, you know, they're gonna have different names, and maybe I'll describe the poses a little bit differently. But you know, they're Gallic Grenade is already kind of like Big Bang Attack in the sense that it's a sphere, a ball-type Ki Blast. And I think it might be a little bit different because there's kind of a detonation factor to it. And yeah, I mean, really all Dragon Ball techniques are derivatives of each other, right? You know, Gallic Gun is essentially Kamehameha, it's just the startup pose is different. Final Flash is essentially the same thing as those two things, but again, the startup pose is different. Has Zucchi ate yet? Do you really want me to write down talking about every meal that Zucchi has? Like, she's had breakfast with her father already, but, like, really, come on, you don't want me talking about every food and every chomp and every lip smack that Zucchi's going through. Like, that's not entertaining. But breakfast was mentioned once already. as with most movies and books and TV shows and stuff, eating for the most part happens off screen, even if there are some like scenes here and there that include it. Imagine how long the story would be if we included every time Zucchi ate, right? Like, what movie, TV show, book does that? I don't know, maybe Food Wars? But this isn't Food Wars. For now, just focus on charging up one Gallic grenade at a time and pushing them into the rock. I'm gonna say into your target. Remember, focus on the direction that you want all of your ki to go in. Remember when Goku pretty much used up all the prize money? Or yeah, I remember that. I remember that for sure. Just focus on charging up one Gallic grenade at a time and pushing them into your target. Remember, focus on the direction that you want all of your ki to go in. On the direction you want all of your ki to go. Master that, and you'll stop suffering the kickback. He ate 57 full-course meals. Seriously? I lost count after 40. Yeah, for real, man. It's kind of ridiculous, the appetites of these Saiyans, man. Which is why going over every meal in excruciating detail is just not gonna happen. You know, if anything, I'll mention that there's a meal happening, and then we're gonna do a time skip through the meal, man. It's... Yeah, exactly who. Master that and you'll stop suffering the kickback. Well, I would have hoped that Videl and Gohan would have had meals together before they got married. So hopefully by the time marriage became, you know, but by the time they decided it's time to get married, hopefully Videl would have already known what she's getting into. Zamasu Goku Black, hello, welcome in. You still hope Zucchi discovered Earth food like Beerus and Champa? I mean, I don't know. I don't really see a whole lot of stuff from Earth making it into this story, guys. I gotta tell you, this is not a story about a Saiyan that gets sent to planet Earth. Like, the only way that she really would be... I haven't even named the planet yet, but, you know... once she makes it to the bounty hunter planet, essentially, you know, maybe there'd be some people who every once in a while bring shit back from other planets, and maybe it could work that way, but I mean... I just don't see what it adds to the story. I don't really see that really contributing to the narrative in any meaningful way. Zucchi knows the fruit of the Tree of Might. Not yet, but by the time Turles comes around, she's going to learn all about it. Was Vegeta, Nappa, and Raditz around when she was still on planet Vegeta, or no? I mean, it's kind of a similar... It follows along pretty much the same timeline, except just insert Zucchi here. Think of it that way. So whatever Vegeta, Nappa, and Raditz were doing, like... it's happening concurrently with what Zucchi's doing. Master that, and you'll stop suffering the kickback. Zucchi charges up a Gallic grenade and pushes it into the rock in front of her. Much like what happened with the Cybermen. The attack backfired, and although she destroyed the rock, much like what happened with the Cybermen, the attack backfired, and although she destroyed the rock, she suffered damage herself. Again! Shouted Gordon. We're not going back until you've collapsed. Turles out there living the good life, building the Crusher Core, right? You know it's making her stronger faster, but isn't he pushing Zucchi a little too hard? He has to. What choice does he have? It's either make her strong enough so that way she can survive out there without him, and he does so confidently within an extremely short period of time, or he just, you know, doesn't push her to her limits. He doesn't know what's going to happen after the destruction of Planet Vegeta, man. You know, this is teaching her how to deal with pain as well as making her stronger. I mean, also, remember, these aren't necessarily humans that we're talking about. These are super-powered space aliens. Until you've collapsed from exhaustion. Zucchi would continue this for maybe a half hour. Making little discernible progress. A family Kamehameha? I don't know. I don't know how that would happen, you know, because if we're talking about a family Kamehameha, I mean, sure, she does end up meeting up with Nasu at one point, but Gordon's going to hell. Like, Gordon, along with the rest of the Saiyans, is going to hell. So I don't know exactly how he'd be able to be a phantom, kind of like how Goku was with Gohan against Cell, or with Gohan and Goten against Broly. Zucchi would continue this for maybe a half hour, making little discernible progress on her first day. Bold of you to assume Zucchi wants kids. Which is fine, as it falls in line with Gordon's plan to abuse the Saiyan's Zenkai abilities. Yo, what's up, Slayer? Welcome in, man. Good to see you. I don't know, man. I haven't seen the movies in so damn long. But yeah, no, I mean the lifestyle that Zucchi's gonna go on to live, guys. There's no room for kids. There's no room for pesky children in Zucchi's life. How old is Zucchi actually? I've written her to be 5 years old at this point, but I'm thinking of maybe aging her up a year to 6. Yeah, a little bit around Vegeta's age. I'm not sure how old Vegeta was when Planet Vegeta went. To be honest with you, I'm really not sure, but you know, I want her to be about grade school age. How's the brainstorming going? It's going good, man. Solo got me some stuff that got the creative juices flowing, so we're actually getting to a point where we're adding to the story here. So, which is fine, as it falls in line with Gordon's plan to abuse the Saiyan's Zenkai abilities. After the training, after Zucchi has put forth as much effort as she can manage, Gordon sweeps her up and takes her back to the house, which has 2 healing pods in it. And he places her in one. Is it raining outside? I think we're getting a little bit of rain. And he places her in one to get her healed up for the next day's training. So Vegeta was about 5. Okay, so yeah. I really did want Zucchi to be pretty close to Vegeta in age, so... Like I said, I might age her up a year. I might age her up to 6 years old, but... Yeah, I didn't really want to make her too much older than that. For the next day's training. Okay, so I don't know why I did that. I'm stupid. I need to pull up my other notes. Okay, how many days did I designate to this training here? 30 days to train Zucchi. Please? Can we not do just like... There we go. Alright. This training schedule would go on for about 8 days until Zucchi was able to masterfully perform the Gallic Grenade at close range. Expand on the 8 days? What? Zucchi blows up rocks? It's gonna be the... like... I mean, it's essentially going to be me just explaining the same thing over and over again. This training schedule would go on for about 8 days until Zucchi was able to masterfully perform the Gallic Grenade at close range. Alright, Zucchi. You're able to perform the Gallic Grenade quite efficiently. Quite efficiently. Up close with one hand. Now I'd like to dedicate some time to having you use 2 at once. You're able to perform the Gallic Grenade quite efficiently up close with one hand. Now I'd like to dedicate some time to having you use 2 at once. Gordon states, some time to having you use 2 at 1, Gordon states. Zucchi nods. The first day would prove to be tricky. Whereas she may not be experiencing much kickback at all while using the double. She is not able to create Yo, what's up, Joseph? Welcome in, man. Things are going alright so far. I'd say we're making some decent progress. She may not be experiencing much kickback while using the double. She is not able to create as powerful of blasts as she can while only using the single variation. Yo, DS, welcome in. Yeah, long time no see, no fooling, man. Yes, we are writing the story of Zucchi is what we're doing. Have I already picked a title for the story? I mean, it's a placeholder title. It's just the story of Zucchi / Dragon Ball Zucchi. I'm not a big fan of either of those titles. I definitely think that they need to be workshopped. But yeah. You were planning on making your CAC a story? Well, that's hell yeah, dude. I would certainly hope that anybody that comes across this stream or this story would be inspired to actually create a real story for their Xenoverse CACs rather than just like, oh, they're a time patroller, you know? Would someone send a pic of Zucchi in the Discord? I mean, I guess I could. I guess I would probably be the most viable person to do that, but yeah, I can get Zucchi up in there. Mind if you give me a couple of ideas? Yeah, I mean, I'm open to people spitballing ideas in the chat, but, you know, whether I'm gonna like them and whether I'm gonna choose to use them or not is a completely different story. I'm getting booted back to the title screen, it looks like. Or no, just a load screen, okay. You could only get a few details for your CACs, you wouldn't be able to put a huge story to them. Yeah, I could see that. You know, I think it's a lot more fun than just rolling with the story that they're a time patroller, you know. The time patrol's not really even going to be mentioned in... Okay. It's not really even going to be mentioned in this story. There might be... I have some ideas as to... like, maybe where I could insert some interesting time patrol stuff, but it's not going to be like this whole main story type of thing, you know? Oh, shut the fuck up, Frieza, you twat. Literally just want to do one thing, and it's get a screenshot of my CAC, but no! I get 18 billion load screens and a cutscene instead. She's not able to create as powerful blasts as she can while only using the single variation. God damn it, all these fucking things have the wrong goddamn cocksucking motherfucking piece of fucking shit. QQ Bang. I don't want to swap, so what I'm gonna do is we're just gonna do this then.
Know what's good for you.
Oh, shut the fuck up, Beerus.
Putting up a good fight too, it seems.
I'll screenshot this, and then we'll go over here, and we'll get a picture in the Discord. Here, I'll put it in the Dragon Ball one. There is a picture of Zucchi in the Dragon Ball section of the Discord. If that's not a big enough image with what you got, then just zoom in on it. Okay. Well, only using the single variation. Kick back when using the double. She's not able to create as powerful a blast as she can while only using the single variation. I'm kind of wondering if another interaction between Gordon and King Vegeta is going to be necessary. You're gonna start being in the streams a little more now? Well, hell yeah, dude. Looking forward to it. Eight days. So that would mean another 5 or 6 days. What is it? 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. See, another 6 days, I guess it would be. And she can while only using the single variation. Zucchi would continue like this for the next 6 days. She would make marginal progress in that time. But Gordon knows they don't have time to spare. But Gordon knows they don't have the time to spare. Gordon would call it good enough after 14 days of the Gallic grenade training and move on to what's next. Okay, so proceeds to approach, concentrate. And she carefully Okay, so yeah, Zucchi said determined, Gordon created a power ball to mimic a full moon. He tossed it into the sky while looking away so he doesn't accidentally transform as well. Zucchi watched as her dad threw the sphere into the sky. She couldn't take her eyes off of it as she gradually grew in size and took the form of a great ape. Now that you're a great ape, you will need to know how to control it. Slightly concerned, Zucchi may lose control. She struggles to control her new form as she goes on a slight rampage, destroying anything in her path. Zucchi, it's alright, I'm here, Gordon shouted to her. Zucchi, trying to gain control, looks at her father as, I'm guessing she heard him trying to calm her down. She's still struggling for control, but she has slowly come to her senses. Papa? She said calmly. Yes, sweetie, it's me, Gordon said proudly. After some time, Zucchi got used to her new power, but didn't fully gain control. She's only dipping her toes into maintaining control in this form. This is only the beginning. You haven't fully grasped how to control this power, but that's okay. You still have much more to learn, Gordon said to Zucchi. He destroyed the power ball as he watched Zucchi return back to normal. So yeah. Again, this is kind of a situation. It's getting me there, but I don't think that I'm ultimately gonna really keep any of this. Let's see. Letteth me think. Because I think the way that I wrote this in my notes isn't necessarily that great. Because we need Zucchi to be able to kind of understand what the Powerball is about. So what I think the direction that we're going to take this is Gordon is going to show Zucchi the Powerball. Like, this is what it looks like. Kind of get a feel for what I'm doing here. Try and create a Powerball of your own. Throw it into the sky. So, I think that with each day of grade 8 training, I think that that's going to be started with Zucchi attempting a power ball, but it's just not putting out enough Brutes waves or Blutz waves for a transformation. So from there, when Gordon's had enough training Zucchi in that, he throws a power ball of his own to get her there. So that way she's kind of learning 2 things at a time. Now, I think the main question here is, how much control does Zucchi have at the start, and how much control is Zucchi going to have at the end? So... Writing is hard, guys. Putting words down on paper and making them coherent and actually having them create a mental image is no easy task, man. It's a tall order. But anyway. Let me have a swig of water. Man, let me have some swigs of water. Maybe the hydration will put me in a... Refreshing. Make sure you folks out there are keeping yourselves well hydrated and refreshed as well. I'll tell you, man, being hydrated is no fun. Or being dehydrated is no fun. Gordon would call it good enough after 14 days of the Gallic grenade training and move on to what's next. Now, Zucchi, this next part of your training is going to tackle 2 topics at once. So I really need you to pay attention. Why is it so fucking hot in here? Pissing me off, man. So I really need you to pay attention. I'm going to teach you the power ball technique, which allows Saiyans to transform into a great ape. Without the need for a full moon. This makes the form less of a crapshoot This turns the form from a crapshoot into a surefire thing. Yeah, a fan is not exactly an option for me when I'm streaming, though. My mic picks it up too well. You know, if my mic didn't pick up a fan going in the background, I'd totally turn one on whenever I needed it, but you know, for the sake of the viewing experience. You know, maybe once I get a better setup, I'll be able to do something like that. But for right now, the mic just picks up too much of what's going on in the room. You're happy you got the Super Saiyan God aura? Yuck, man. Those auras, in my opinion, are a waste of time and a waste of resources. I am thoroughly unimpressed with the auras in this game. Well, I say this game, I'm not playing a game, but in Xenoverse 2. Allow me to demonstrate what the power ball looks like. And what do you guys think I should go with? Because I think there's two different words for the waves that turn a Saiyan into a Great Ape. There's Brutes waves, and there's Blutz waves. Should I go Brutes or Blutz, do you guys think, for the sake of the story? I should probably go with whatever, like, the English translation is, right? Because if I'm going with terms like Great Ape, I think it's Blutz waves. Brutes waves or Blutz waves. Blutz, if you had to choose. Blutz waves, yeah, I'm pretty sure that's the English translation, right? Yeah, okay. I think Blutz waves is going to be the way to go. When will stream end? I'm not 100% sure, but I think I'm going to go for probably about another hour at the most, is what I'll say. I'm thinking I'll probably go for about another hour at the most. Because I'd really like to get through as much of Zucchi's training as I possibly can. I'm thinking that I'm going to be doing a little bit of writing over the weekend, maybe add a little bit more detail here and there, maybe make sure that everything is good up until Zucchi's departure from Planet Vegeta, because that's where the next writing stream we do, that's where I'd like to pick up from, is basically Zucchi travels through space and makes it to Planet Tivne, is where I'd like to be starting. I'd really like to be putting these bullet points into story form next stream. So I might do a little bit of stuff. Oh, that was a rough burp. I might be doing a little bit of stuff off stream, but not much. Not much. This turns the form from a crapshoot into a surefire thing. Allow me to demonstrate what the power ball looks like. Gordon forms an energy ball in his hand. Visually, it doesn't look too different. You feel inspired to make your CAC story now? Well, hell yeah, dude. That is one part of the reason why I'm doing this. One, because, you know, I always had a story in mind for Zucchi that didn't involve the Time Patrol, and I really want to put it out there in the world, and if, you know, hopefully that would inspire other people to do the same. You know, there's a whole lot of really bad Dragon Ball what-ifs out there, people have been telling me, and so I'd really like to put a decent one out there to hopefully inspire other people to make decent ones as well. An energy ball in his hand. Visually, it doesn't look too different from your typical energy ball, but the vibe coming off of it is noticeably different. Noticeable different. Solo, if you're still sticking around, out of curiosity, are you able to open up the word pads that I send you? Like, are you actually able to open up the documents and stuff, or does it just kind of... Like, how does it look on your end? Because I know you're kind of confined to mobile right now. Like, if I scroll up... Right here. If you open up the document I sent you, can you see where I highlighted stuff and things like that? Is the main thing that I want to know. This power ball, when thrown and mixed with the air, is capable of producing Blutz waves, producing the necessary Blutz waves to transform. I'll hold this one here so you can examine, so you can study it. I want you to recreate a ball like this one and throw it high into the air. Then, in a sense, you need to pop it. So its contents can mix with the air. I'm going to refrain from looking at it so I don't transform. Looking at it as I have little need to transform. That is, unless you end up going so far out of control. But that's beside the point. You need to look at it so we can see if you did it right. Now begin. Zucchi takes a minute to examine the ball floating in her father's hand. After a minute or two, Zucchi then holds out her hand to create a ball of her own. Unless you end up... kind of want to change that. Unless you end up losing all control. Sounds like elevator music. Yeah, I mean, it's Pokemon lo-fi music, which, you know, I think I've heard lo-fi be compared to elevator music before in the past. So, you know, it's just meant to be something chill, something to listen to, kind of fill in the silent gaps, you know, fill in the dead air, so that way it's not just me sitting here quietly as I'm thinking. Then it holds out her hand to create a ball of her own. Okay, now... I don't even know. She throws it up into the... to the air, like her father instructed. When do we get to the top floor? Never. There is no top floor. The building just keeps going on forever and ever and ever. You're trapped. You're trapped in here with me and my thoughts now. Like her father instructed. But she threw it too far. And it ended up flying out of sight. That's all right. Gordon reassures her. Just try it again. And this time, stop it mid-air. Zucchi nods. And then, you like the elevator music? It's nice. Here, let me get you guys a link just in case you ever want to use something like this for yourselves. You know, stuff like this is really good for like studying or focusing up on something, or you know, if you're writing something, some kind of story like what I'm doing. You know, for someone like me, I think it really helps me focus and stay on task. But it's just some Pokemon lo-fi music that basically is on a 24-hour cycle very similar to like what the Lo-Fi Girl does, just with Pokemon instead. And then forms another ball. She throws it into the air and is able to stop it this time. It seems as though... Alrighty, Slayer, for sure, for sure. I don't think I'm going to be on too much longer myself. Probably only about another 30, 40 minutes or something along those lines. But I'm sure you'll be able to catch the tail end of what I'm doing. She throws it into the air and is able to stop it this time. I mean, according to the description, yeah, that's when it started. Oops. Excuse me. It seems as though the key control she learned from practicing the Gallic grenade has paid off in more ways than one. It seems like this particular stream mainly has like Gen 3 and Gen 4 music. I do wish that we could get a little bit more variety across generations, but the stuff that they do play is still really nice. Suits my purposes for these streams perfectly fine as far as I'm concerned. From practicing the Gallic grenade has paid off in more ways than one. Now then, break it open. Break it open, says Gordon. $120,000 TP medals, huh? That's pretty much the same ballpark as what I have on my main account. My main Xenoverse 2 account has a little bit over 120,000 as well. Says Gordon. Zucchi tries, but alas, the ball just dissipates. But alas, the ball just dissipates. Again. Gordon orders. On her third attempt, Zucchi is able to break the ball open without it dissipating right away. But the ball does not produce enough Blutz waves to trigger a transformation. To trigger a transformation. She gives it another half dozen attempts with no success and lets out a defeated sigh. I don't know what I'm doing wrong, Papa. Zucchi says, disappointed in herself. And that's alright. You're doing fine for your first day. Your first day at it. Let me go on ahead and throw mine so you can get a better look and feel of the idea. You are going to transform, and I think you're doing fine for your first day at it. Let me go on ahead and throw mine so you can get a better look and feel of the idea. Feel for the idea. You are going to transform, and I think that the rest of our time you are going to transform When you do, try your best to maintain control over yourself. We'll spend the rest of your... You'll spend the rest of your time today as a great ape. Man. I don't know how professional writers do it, man. I don't know about how much time a professional writer spends on their works in a day, but man, after about 3 hours of focusing in, man, it starts to waver. Especially when I don't have the clearest vision in my head. You'll spend the rest of your time today as a great ape. I know you've never transformed before, but the first time is always the worst. Should you put it more like after some time, Zucchi got used to her new power but couldn't quite fully gain control? I mean, that's where we're getting at, but I don't just want to say that and then move on to the next thing. You know, if I can muster up the words, I would like to be more descriptive if I can. You know, I'm thinking that after today's session, I'm probably going to have to go back and revise and add more detail to this. I'll probably send Solo what I have typed up here in this sticky note and have him help me out with mainly maybe trying to get a little bit more detail in the Gallic Grenade training section, but I feel like, you know, there's only a few more sentences I really need to add to that at best, but you know, as compared to the Gallic Grenade training, I feel like this could be described in a more interesting way, you know, because it's not just Zucchi blowing up rocks and trying to learn an energy blast technique that anybody who's ever seen the Dragon Ball series, you know, would be familiar with. Maybe not specifically familiar with Gallic Grenade, but you know, ki blasts are not anything new or exciting, and the training for them in my mind, I can't really envision a good way to make that sound interesting. But since the Powerball technique and since the Great Ape transformation, especially learning how to control it, is something that never really gets expanded upon to any great detail in the canon, I would like to try and take my hand, you know, try my hand at it. So, you know, for something like the Gallic Grenade, I'm cool with keeping it kind of vague, but this is something that I'd like to try and be more descriptive about. I think "and the first time is always the worst." but you have ample room out here, so don't worry about it too much. Try not to worry. Try not to worry about it so much. Okay, Papa. Zucchi says as she... You're back? Welcome back. Says as she tries to fake a smile. Gordon throws the Powerball and once it's in place, he says, burst open and mix. You'll send the suggestions for the story in the PlayStation message. I mean, the chat works perfectly fine. I'm not sure if you ever joined the Discord at any point, but that's also a good place that you can send me stuff. I'm just not on my PlayStation much, except for when, like, I'm streaming or recording, and I've never really been one to pay close attention to my PlayStation messages. You have Discord? Are you in the Discord? Like, my community Discord? Yes? Alright, yeah. That would probably be the easiest place to send it, because I'm like 100,000 times more likely to check that, because I generally check the Discord pretty frequently. I'm not always saying stuff in there, but I'm pretty attentive to the messages that come through. Once it's in place, he says, burst open and mix. Immediately, Zucchi begins to feel the effects taking place. and her body begins to surge. Immediately, Zucchi begins to feel the effects taking place and her body begins to surge. Gordon takes to the air and gives Zucchi some space. Immediately, Zucchi begins to feel the effects taking place, and her body begins to surge. Gordon takes to the air and gives Zucchi some space. The transformation takes place, and Zucchi grows tremendously in size and takes the form of a giant hairy ape monster. She lets out a mighty roar. She stares into the palms of her hands. Into the palms of her unrecognizable hands. Her giant teeth are clenched. She is clearly struggling, but she is not rampaging. Like most other... What the fuck? Other Saiyans do in this form. She then grips her head with her hands and begins grunting and groaning. Her control seems to be wavering. She falls to the ground and begins to flail about. Her movements causing small tremors. She flails and writhes, as I think it's a good way to put it, until the sun begins to set and her father decides that that's enough for the day. You sent him to the Discord? Alright, good stuff, my man. Okay, so we got the Time Patrol Chronicles, and the other is the Scroll of Zucchi. The Scroll of Zucchi is definitely along the right lines here, I think. The Time Patrol Chronicles, unfortunately, the Time Patrol, if it has any involvement at all, is going to be very minimal. You know, I know that Xenoverse is all about the Time Patrol and stuff like that, but Zucchi, the character herself, really isn't. Like, I know in the game, yes, as a CAC, that is her role in the game, that, you know, she's a time patroller and all that, but like I said, Zucchi herself is, you know, in her own original story, is not. But I do like where the Scroll of Zucchi is going, for sure. I definitely like the direction that one takes. Whether or not that's going to wind up being... put the two together? I don't know, maybe. Maybe. Yeah, honestly, I think I might need to workshop the name a little bit more, but we're still really early on in this, and we don't even have... shit, it's probably going to take years to have a complete first draft of the whole story, but... you know, it's a process, it takes time, and so, you know, we'll just take our time. I was trying to do a Kingdom Hearts quote there, but I kind of spaced it on what the rest of it says. She flails and writhes until the sun begins to set, and her father decides that's enough for the day. It'll be a book for sale somewhere. Yeah. I hope that somewhere along the way, though, I hope that I do influence a lot of people to try and put something down story wise for their own CACs. You know. Shit, if this actually makes it somewhere mainstream, I would crap myself. I'd be so happy, but I would be shitting enough bricks to make a whole neighborhood of houses, man. She flails and writhes until the sun begins to set, and her father decides that's enough for the day. He cancels out the Powerball, and Zucchi's size... God, fuck. Size begins to shrink, and she returns back to her base form. If Toyotaro saw this, I'd be as scared as Vegeta was during the first Broly movie. Well, that's quite the compliment, Solo. It definitely needs some sprucing up. The formatting, for sure. Like, the formatting of this, it needs a lot of work. But, you know, that's quite the compliment. That says a lot about the mental images that come to your mind when actually reading and hearing about the things that are going on in the story. And she returns back to her base form. She returns back to her base form. She's returned back to her norm. Gordon has to scoop her up. They're done for the day. What else can he say? His daughter's gonna slay. Hell yeah. Oh yeah. How many pages did you already use? I wish I could tell you, dude, but this basic bitch program that I'm using does not have page breaks in it. As you can see, it's just one continuous page. So... And I've been looking for a page break option, but I didn't find one. So I don't know exactly how much pages this has taken up so far. I wish I knew. Maybe one of these days, if I actually get, like, full-fledged Microsoft Word, we'll be able to figure that out, but I don't feel like forking over money for that, and I don't feel like pirating either. You got Chinese food? Nice. I'd love it if I could get some Chinese food right about now. Yeah, I'm sure they are all closed. That's why I said I wish. And she returns back to her base form. Gordon scoops her up and he takes her back to the house to recover for the next day. Alright, so let me read what we have here. Let's see what we've got in terms of what we have in the sticky notes, right? Alright, Zucchi. For now, just focus on charging up one Gallic grenade at a time and pushing them into your target. Remember, focus on the direction that you want all of your ki to go. Master that, and you'll stop suffering the kickback. Zucchi charges up a Gallic grenade and pushes it into the rock in front of her. Much like what happened with the Cybermen, the attack backfired, and although she destroyed the rock, she suffered damage herself. Again, Gordon shouted. We're not going back until you've collapsed from exhaustion. Zucchi would continue this for maybe a half hour, making little discernible progress on her first day. Which is fine, as it falls in line with Gordon's plan to abuse the Saiyans in... What the fuck? I lost my damn place. Zenkai abilities. After Zucchi has put forth... I don't know why I can't spell, guys. Has put forth as much effort as she can manage, Gordon sweeps her up and takes her back to the house, which has 2 healing pods in it. And he places her in one to get her healed up for the next day's training. This training schedule would go on for about 8 days until Zucchi was able to masterfully perform the Gallic grenade at close range. Alright, Zucchi, you're able to perform the Gallic grenade quite efficiently up close with one hand. Now I'd like you to dedicate some time to having you use 2 at once, Gordon states. Zucchi nods. The first day would prove to be tricky, whereas she may not be experiencing much kickback while using the double. She's not able to create as powerful of blasts as she can while only using the single variation. Zucchi would continue like this for the next 6 days. She would make marginal progress in that time, but Gordon knows that they don't have the time to spare. Gordon would call it good enough after 14 days of the Gallic grenade training and move on to what's next. Now, Zucchi, this part of your training is going to tackle 2 topics at once, so I really need you to pay attention. I'm going to teach you the Powerball technique, which allows Saiyans to transform into a great ape without the need for a full moon. This turns the form from a crapshoot into a surefire thing. Allow me to demonstrate what the Powerball looks like. Gordon forms an energy ball in his hand. Visually, it doesn't look too different from the typical energy ball, but the vibe coming off of it is noticeably different. This Powerball, when thrown and mixed in the air, is capable of producing the necessary Blutz waves to transform. I'll hold this one here so you can study it. I want you to recreate a ball like this one and throw it high into the air. Then, in a sense, you need to pop it so its contents can mix with the air. I'm going to refrain from looking at it, as I have little need to transform. That is, unless you end up losing all control. But that's beside the point. You need to look at it so we can see if you did it right. Now begin. Zucchi takes a minute to examine the ball floating in her father's hand. After a minute or two, Zucchi then holds out her hand to create a ball of her own. She throws it up into the air like her father instructed, but she threw it too far and it ended up flying out of sight. That's alright, Gordon reassures her. Just try it again, and this time stop it midair. Zucchi nods and then forms another ball. She throws it into the air and is able to stop it this time. It seems as though the ki control she learned from practicing the Gallic grenade has paid off in more ways than one. Now then, break it open, says Gordon. Zucchi tries, but alas, the ball just dissipates. Again, Gordon orders. On her third attempt, Zucchi is able to break the ball open without it dissipating right away, but the ball does not produce enough Blutz waves to trigger a transformation. She gives it another half-dozen attempts with no success and lets out a defeated sigh. I don't know what I'm doing wrong, Papa, Zucchi says, disappointed in herself. That's alright. You're doing fine for your first day at it. Let me go on ahead and throw mine so you can get a better look and feel for the idea. You are going to transform. When you do, try your best to maintain control over yourself. You'll spend the rest of your time today as a great ape. I know you've never transformed before, and the first time is always the worst. But you have ample room out here, so try not to worry about it too much. Okay, Papa, Zucchi says as she tries to fake a smile. Gordon throws the power ball, and once it's in place, he says, "Burst open and mix!" Immediately, Zucchi begins to feel the effects taking place, and her body begins to surge. Gordon takes to the air and gives Zucchi some space. The transformation takes place, and Zucchi grows tremendously in size and takes on the form of a giant, hairy ape monster. She lets out a mighty roar. She stares into the palms of her unrecognizable hands. Her giant teeth are clenched. She is clearly struggling, but she's not rampaging like most other Saiyans do in this form. She then grips her head with her hands and begins grunting and groaning. Her control seems to be wavering. She falls to the ground and begins to flail about, her movements causing small tremors. She flails and writhes until the sun begins to set, and her father decides that's enough for the day. He cancels out the power ball, and Zucchi's size begins to shrink, and she returns back to her base form. Gordon scoops her up and takes her back to the house to recover for the next day. Well, I'm really pleased with how especially this last part came out. I'm really pleased with this. I really like what I have written here a lot, truth be told. I might want to go back over and kind of touch up some of this other stuff, I think. But I'll probably work on some of that maybe a little bit more over the weekend. Maybe I'll call upon Solo for a little bit more assistance as well. But I think that that's what we got going on is pretty good. It's not bad at all. Yeah, this has been a bit of a struggle. I'm not gonna lie. This was a hard one for me to get through, but I definitely think I made better progress than what I did last week. Especially considering how I have like bullet points and characters and a couple other things thought out for the arc that's going to follow this one. So I'd say we made some pretty good progress, and by the time I actually start writing the Tivne arc, I think that I'm going to be able to get things moving pretty quickly along that one, especially if I'm, like, thinking as I'm going along, you know? Yeah, I definitely think that I'm much more better prepared for the Tivne arc than I was for specifically this, this training portion. But yeah, I'm not gonna lie to you guys. I'm pretty bored of like Xenoverse. It was a lot of fun streaming, and of course I'm still going to continue to do Xenoverse streams. Those aren't going to be going anywhere, at least not for a good long time. But I don't think that I'm going to be streaming it like crazy like what I was for these first handful of weeks with the festival. So, still be expecting those. I need to throw something else in the mix. So what I think I'm going to do is I'm probably going to do a Pokemon Nuzlocke starting sometime next week. Maybe I'll discuss it some more in the Discord, but it's going to come down between Brilliant Diamond and Pokemon Sword. I've never played Pokemon Sword, so I'd be going into a Nuzlocke of that completely blind, and I think that might be entertaining for people to watch. A first-time playthrough plus a Nuzlocke, but sometime next week I'd like to get that started and throw it into the mix, so that way there's some Nuzlocke, some Xenoverse stuff, and some story of Zucchi as well. Kind of keep things a little bit mixed up here on the channel and have a bunch of different projects going on at the same time. But anyway, folks, that is what you can be expecting from me. So make sure that you are keeping a close eye out for that. Let me get this for folks who are interested in it real quick. Then I think that's going to be about time for me to start getting out of here. Hold on. Invite people. Yeah, we'll just copy it and get it in there. For anyone who might want to join the Discord and keep up with me and, you know, keep up with the community and stuff like that, there is my Discord for you to see. We're a pretty cool bunch, I'd like to think anyway. But yeah, with all that being said, folks, I do believe that that's going to be about my cue to bounce. Certainly do hope that you enjoyed watching just as much as I enjoyed presenting tonight. And until we meet again, make sure you take care. See ya!